Hi, everybody. I'm Claudia Taylor with the UNT Alumni Association, and welcome to UNT Alumni Live. We hope you had a wonderful holiday break and are ready for a whole new year of UNT Alumni events and programs. Today, we are thrilled to be on site at the one and only Willis Library on the beautiful UNT campus with Libraries Dean Diane Bruxworth, with some help from Morgan Geringer, head of the UNT Special Collections. Willis is celebrating 50 incredible years of serving the UNT community, and today we're going to take a look at some of the collection's most interesting and historically important pieces, from a book published in 1475 to the very first book printed in English west of the Mississippi. Before we dive in, just a few reminders for everyone. If you're joining us on Zoom, hello, please keep an eye on the chat section at the bottom of your screen. I'll be posting some useful links there, and you can also use that to send me your questions about Willis and the UNT libraries. I'll also post a link for a survey there. Fill that out and you'll be entered to win a UNT Alumni prize pack. If you're watching on Facebook, hello, you can also leave us your questions and comments there, and we'll get to as many of those as we can. Now, as I'm sure you've noticed, my usual partner in crime, Casey, couldn't be here today. So our coworker and usual cameraman, Daniel Suda, is here to do our interview. Before I hand it over to him, though, let me tell you a little bit about the history of Willis Library and about its exceptional leader, Diane Bruxworth. Built on top of the university's original football field and named for then UNT System Board of Regents Chairman A.M. Willis Jr., Willis Library has played an integral role in the educational journeys of hundreds of thousands of UNT students over the last 50 years. Overall, the UNT libraries provide access to more than 6 million print and digital items, along with programs, support services, and the invaluable expertise of a team of highly trained librarians. The library's collections include a wide array of treasures, from a miniature stone tablet that is more than 4,000 years old, that I think we're going to see today, to medieval manuscripts and early publications by UNT alumnus Larry McMurtry. What's more, its popular Portal to Texas History recently added its 1 millionth item, a Texas Gulf Coast map from 1680. All of UNT's incredible libraries are led by Dean Diane Bruxworth. She joined the university in 2018, having previously served at the University of Aberdeen in Scotland, the University of Florida, and the University of Houston, among other institutions. Dean Bruxworth, thank you for being here with us today. And Daniel, take it away.
Well, thank you, Claudia. And I am, as you mentioned, I'm not Casey, but I'll do my best to channel the Casey Kamenicki energy and hopefully bring some spirit to this interview. So Diane, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today and telling us a little about the library. I understand that Willis Library has gone through, many changes over its 50 years. So can you tell us a little bit about, what it used to be and what maybe the more recent renovations have been, and what our students have to be excited about today?
Sure. As all of you know, libraries have changed a lot. Maybe not in the last 50 years, but in the last 20 years, 25 certainly. So the library, when it was first built, it was envisioned as stacks and some study space. Lots and lots of stacks. It was literally full of books, and there was also study space. That's changed. Today, we provide materials online. We provide most of the journals are online and with great databases and indices that you can access the materials and find the materials. When I look back at what libraries were when I was in college, which is a few years ago.
Not too long ago, right?
Early 80s, you were very limited in what you could find in any one library because it was simply impossible. Mm-hmm. Today, we have hundreds of thousands of journals, and it's very different. The library has become a student space. We still have books in the library. The third floor is almost all stacks, and many of you would recognize it. It is very much as it was. The fourth floor has a large number of stacks with a music library and lots of scores, of course. The second floor is a study space, group study areas. And the third floor we have most recently renovated, and we're going to look at some of the pictures of that. The library is a gathering space for our students. We look at, we use the third place concept, and some of you will have heard about that. Starbucks wants to be your third place. This goes back to a book. I'm a librarian, it has to go back to a book. Ray Oldenburg wrote a book called The Great Good Place, where he posited that every individual to be happy and healthy needed three things: They need a safe home, interesting work, and a third place that meets all the rest of their needs. So, we all have our home, we have our work, we have our hub or our church or our community center. Our students have the dorm, which may or may not be comfortable. They have their department and their classroom, and it's challenging. It's something where they have to work at all the time. It's interesting, but it's difficult. So who meets their other needs? What's their third place? We believe it should be the library. So a third place should have long hours. We're open 24/7. We don't close except for during the major holidays. It's very comfortable. We've gone out of our way to make sure students have all kinds of comfortable furniture. It's welcoming. All the rules about no food and drink, and you can't do this and you can't do that, those are all gone. This is a place where if you want to order a pizza, you order a pizza. If you want to bring in a pillow because you're going to take a nap in the middle of the night, I'd rather you brought your pillow in and took a nap than walked out at 3 a.m. So long hours, comfortable and welcoming. So that's what we are to our students. They come here, as many of you have, to interact with each other or to study alone. We talk about this a lot. We have this phenomenon nowadays where instead of studying alone in your dorm room where you are truly alone, we have students who come to one of the quiet floors of the library and study alone with 100 people around them who are also studying alone. So the alone together seems to be something that our students really appreciate. They're part of a community, they're part of a crowd, they're not isolated, but they have the quiet. Or they come to the second floor where there's a constant buzz of activity. And some of them, a lot of our students are used to that. They feed on that buzz of activity. So the building, Willis Library and our other libraries have become very much about the student, where the collections are very much online. We don't see a lot of faculty in the building. There's a good reason for this. We get their materials to them online, all their journals, this type of thing, help them find their research online. And if they want a book, we deliver it to their office. So we spoil them as much as possible. And it means the library has very much become a student place. The building has.
Well, I know, many students, I know during my time as a student here, many evenings spent here at Willis Library. I know many of our alums probably watching can probably relate to this. This, as you mentioned, is a comfortable place. This third place concept, not something I've heard of, but I totally get it. This is where I know, hey, it's midnight. I'm at my house. Maybe I can't focus here. I'm going to go to the library and spend a couple hours there because it's warm, great lighting, and it's quiet. And I can actually focus here away from all the other distractions in my life. You mentioned, we have some photos that we wanted to share. So Claudia, could you pull up those photos and kind of, for those who haven't been able to see the library,
I'm
we can look at some of the great renovations. So give us a second to
bear with
kind of
me
screen share here. Sure. All right. So what are we looking at here?
Okay,
Oh my
well,
gosh.
you all recognize this. It looks very empty around it because there's so many more buildings nowadays. But this is Willis. When it was being built, it seems like it's all up on a hill. It's changed a lot from there, but this is the original building being put up. This is what they called phase one, the central part of the building. There were supposed to be 2 wings. The wings have never been built. We don't really expect that they will be at this point because of the changes in libraries over the years. So we could go on to the next. Okay, interior of the building, while it was being built, those dropped ceilings being put in. One of the things we did when we renovated the first floor was remove the drop ceiling, and we got an extra 18 inches of space, which just really gives the first floor a different feel than the rest of the building. Okay, this is a really good picture of what the library looked like at that time, when it was opened. The color on the wall, the type of furnishings, that window is still there. The wavy colored wall has changed.
Yes.
So that is not like that, but that was what the building looked like in 1971 when it opened. Okay. All right, so this is actually looking out the back of the library to the music building. Some of you probably haven't seen this because this happened in the last couple of years. The music building sits up on a hill and then the library is below it. And you always had to go all the way around to get to the music building or to get to the library. So I guess it's just before COVID. I think this was
About 2 years
finished.
ago, yeah.
These stairs were built between the library, and it's kind of around the back of the library on the right-hand side. And you can get directly to the music library now. And the boxes are materials we were bringing in during the renovation. When we did the renovation of the first floor, it coincided with, we didn't know it was going to coincide with, but we were informed that the library was going to have a complete MEP. So that's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, something I learned since I came here. It hadn't been done in 30 years. So it was a huge job. Every piece of kit, every process, all the plumbing, all the mechanical, all the electrical was gone over, upgraded. We're in great shape now. It took a year and a half, and they really were able to push it along faster because of COVID. The end came during COVID, and with shorter hours for the library, they worked overnight and got it done. But that puts us in great shape. The first floor is renovated, and our systems are really top notch. And this was part of that process. And there you go, where we're taking those ceiling tiles back down that you saw going up in the earlier picture. So this is the first floor. I don't know how many of you have been to the library in the last 10 years. Over time, the first floor had become a warren of rooms. There was offices in a corner, and then everything was cut off. You couldn't go around the first floor. It was completely cut off. There was a section here. There was a big meeting room in the middle that was not used enough to justify that amount of space. A few computers around that side. We took all of that down. We opened it up completely. So it has a completely different feel now. And that's some of the process that you see happening there. Still has the columns every 20 feet because those don't change in a brutalist building. You don't take down columns. Okay. Okay, this is some of the flooring that we're putting it in. The flooring on the first floor is really interesting because it's a combination of, well, I call it linoleum. It's not. It's very much more high end than that. It's a very soft, but it has the linoleum kind of a look, and carpeting. So part of it's completely carpeted, parts of it's completely the high-tech linoleum, and then they come together and create a pattern as you walk through the first floor. And this was getting ready to do that, getting the first floor level to do that. Okay, this is what it looks like today. This is near the elevators. This is on the back side of the elevators. This is where, what was it? This is where the circulation desk used to be. The circulation desk has moved to the other side. So what you're looking into that corner, that's the northeast corner of the building that you're looking at. And you see the high tech, I think they call it BOC, and some of the new furnishings there in the first floor. Okay. This is, you can see, get a good view here of the new circulation desk. The circulation desk is where the study, the coffee bar used to be. We no longer have a coffee bar. It was a very controversial decision.
I used to go all the time. Yeah.
People loved it. It was, we didn't do well financially on the coffee bar. It didn't help our bottom line. It was a great service, and that's why we kept it up for years. However, when the Union opened, they have a Starbucks and a lot of food in there. And they've also just up, if you're walking past Willis toward Hurley, just up on that hill on the left, they've also put in another Starbucks right there. So we have access to a lot of different materials. So we have put in some very basic things now, but we don't have the coffee bar anymore. This is the new circulation desk that is where the coffee bar used to be, where the study used to be. Okay, now this is at the circulation desk looking back into the building a little bit. We wanted to warm it up. One side of the first floor is very much technical. It's where we have our maker space, and we'll see that in a minute. Lots of, well, tools, literally, and materials, and 3D printers, sewing machines, very technical. that's on the far north side. This is the south end of the building where we put in this honeycomb ceiling with this really warm wood, and it gives a completely different feel. So it's very warm. It has standing desks for the most part, and you'd be amazed how many students use the standing desks. We've put a few high stools there or high chairs, but they really don't get much used. These are used by people who want to be in a space that's warm and welcoming, and they want a standing desk. Very popular space in the new floor. Okay. I call these the A-frames from the side. They kind of have an A-frame. These are hugely popular little study pods. When you sit down in them, the illusion of privacy is amazing. They only come out 18 inches on an A-frame on the side, but you sit in and you're in your own little world. Some of them have a table, some of them do not. Some seat one, some seat two. And we've populated these around the first floor, and they are hugely popular. When you walk in the library now, you see these two on the right. The other thing you almost see in that picture, but not quite, the two sets of doors that you had to go through, and there were 5 in each or 6 in each. Those are gone, and we have sliding glass doors. Best thing we've done for the front of the library in a very long time, especially in the age of COVID where you don't want to touch everything. So those are very popular. You just walk in now and it's just really open. It's a great view.
It's pretty incredible. I was here the other day and I was sitting in one of these little privacy, I guess, cubbies. I don't know what we really call them, but they're incredibly comfortable. And you see some students studying, some napping, but just a place where people can be by themselves. And you're right, you sit in there and it's like you're by yourself, but you still have the ambiance of white noise in the background.
Right,
so
right.
It's just amazing all the changes that have happened.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next picture.
Okay, now this is over on the north end of the first floor, and this is part of the makerspace. The makerspace is, we serve a lot of different students with this. It's engineering students, students from CVAT, and students who just for projects, and people use it for just the things they need to do. So you can come and solder something. You can do 3D printing. We have high-end sewing machines. We have a whole deck of tools, and you want to come in and make something with wood. We have the tools. This is more and more of learning today is project-based and experiential, and the makerspace serves that purpose. We used to have it was on the first floor, but it was behind a closed door, and you didn't know it was there unless you went looking for it. So now we have an area in the northwest corner where the machines that take some training, where you can hurt yourself, like the laser cutter, are behind a closed door. Well, they're actually behind a garage door, which we open every day. So it's very open, but we can close it at night when we don't have staff there. It's also open very late. And then a lot of the other things are out on the floor. So like this, so you see the materials and you see the options that are available to you. Okay, I think, yes. And Eagle Eye's virtual tours, we have some software we use where you can do virtual tours. And if you look that up, I think you can get access to quite a bit of the virtual tours we've done of the various floors of the library.
Yeah. Actually, it's pretty incredible to see all the incredible changes that have taken place here over the last 50 years, obviously some more recently, but what's to come? What are the next 50 years? And maybe not that, what are the next 5 years for you? What other major plans you have for the library?
Oh, we have lots of plans. A lot of it comes down to identifying funding, and we're working on that. But we have the second floor is going to get a lot of interest next. We are going to make some changes around our media library. So we're going to have to incorporate them into Willis, and we're working on that. So that's going to be a big change. If you've been to the media library, right now it's over in Chilton. They have gaming and media to support all of our, there's a gaming major now. It supports that, but it also supports the students in projects and all kinds of media that faculty use a lot in their coursework. That's going to change. So that's going to be one of those dominoes falling. We put these folks here, so these folks have to move here, and then we're going to, so we'll have lots of small moves in the next year or two. The below ground area we've already done. It has all been freshened up as great, really interesting furniture that the students like, a lot of the pod type things. Third floor is stacks and will remain primarily stacks. The fourth floor has the music library and special collections. And that's our next big project after we do some of the changes around media. We have preeminent collections in music and in special collections, and it doesn't show in the building. The building, I really think there's some furniture out there that's from 1971. I really do. It shows. It's time to change some of that. So that's a big project for us. Our dream project, we don't know when we're going to do this, but our dream project is when you walk in the front doors, if you look all the way straight ahead, and you can now, there's a set of the big windows that have the big curve. We want to change those into doors and open an outdoor space for the library.
Incredible.
At the back of the library before the hill that goes up to music. I think it'd be a beautiful space. We can do kind of an indoor outdoor atmosphere, do some pergolas and plantings and heaters. And I don't know about air conditioning, but heaters, we could use it much of the year. And some of our students really like being out in the heat. So that's one of our dream projects. We're not going to get the wings, but can we get some indoor outdoor space? And I think it'd be fantastic.
Well, we've learned a lot about, some of the physical change. Let's talk about more of the services that are provided. I mean, as time goes on, things are becoming more and more digitalized, as you've talked about. So why are the libraries so important? And more specifically, what are your librarians? How do they serve our students and our alumni? What is the future, I guess, of libraries? It's
interesting in that the formats have changed, but the work librarians do hasn't in many ways. Our goal, we're in service to the university. Our goal is to support, we call it learning, teaching, and research. So we support our students in their learning, our faculty in their teaching, and our faculty in their research. A lot of this is done through our collections. So we've added huge amounts of databases and journals so that when you're doing your research, you don't have to go elsewhere to find materials. There was a day when we still use interlibrary loan. We still borrow from other libraries. Nobody can own everything, but we have a fantastic collection that supports. And every time we look at, should we buy this? Should we buy this? What do we add? How do we spend this money? Is there a program it supports? And that's how we start. We ask our librarians. We have about 60 librarians. They work in digital services. They work in subject librarians, in cataloging, all the full range of everything we've always done, but just in a different way. We still have librarians who provide information classes for classrooms. A faculty member will come and say, I need you to teach my students how to use the library. And they come in, we have a classroom. It's also on the first floor where we teach the students. They used to be called bibliographic instruction. Same thing. We don't call it that much anymore because students go, what are you talking about? But we still do that type of thing. We go to the classroom and we talk to our faculty about their research. What do you need? What's missing? What can we get for you? So that support is what we do. We do a lot more of it online than we ever did. That we did before COVID, and COVID just took it to another level where we provide streaming services for videos, whatever the faculty members need to support their classes. That's our goal. That's what we do. We have less of the collection on campus than we used to. We have a huge storage facility off campus. We do a lot of ebooks. So the formats have changed. The work hasn't.
I know as a doctoral student myself, I wouldn't be able to succeed without the services that are provided by this library. I can get pretty much any article I ever need through your database, and I'm sure that's going to continue to evolve over time.
Absolutely. It's really interesting to watch. About 5-10 years ago, I had not a colleague, because that would imply a librarian, but someone I knew a little bit who said, oh, that's right, you're a librarian. Are you going to retrain? It's like, what are you talking about? Well, libraries are going away. Are you going to be able, she was trying to figure out how old I am. Are you going to make it to retirement? Are you going to need to retrain? It's like, we need to have a conversation. Libraries aren't going anywhere. Libraries have morphed and changed, and really kept up with the times. But the role of the library doesn't change. We're here to support our faculty and our students.
Excellent. I have one more question. I know we want to talk about some special collections, but
Absolutely.
this is our 50th anniversary of Willis Library, 1971 to today. So what has already happened in terms of celebrating, and what is to come for Willis and honoring this significant milestone?
We have 3 basic events. We've had one event already in the fall. We had the president and the provost and the deans all come, and we set out materials from our various departments about the history of the library. And this is how you attract students. We got a big cake.
Yeah.
We had a nice big cake. And the president and the provost spoke, and the students all came in and learned a little bit about the history of the library and had lots of activities for them. And I served cake. That was fun. I just, cut and serve and cut and serve.
I think that's one thing that hasn't changed in 50 years is if you provide food, students will come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we had a celebration for the students. We're also going to have a celebration for all the people who have worked here over the years. So we're going to have a reunion. So if any of you have done your time, spent some time working, be looking for an invite. We're going to bring people together and celebrate all the years of service of this library. The third thing we're going to do is have a dinner in the library on the first floor, a formal dinner for as many people, somewhere between 50 and 100 people, where we talk about the library and the future of the library, and just really celebrate the service over the years and look ahead to what we're going to be doing next.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to continue to celebrate this significant milestone. We are in the special collections area, and I understand we have some incredible pieces we want to showcase. So let's transition over to Morgan here and take a look at what we got. And thank you so much for all of your wisdom, Diane, and thank you for sharing with us about the library.
Anytime.
So let's transition over here. Follow me with the camera. All right, so everyone, this is Morgan from our library special collections, and tell us, we got some incredible pieces here in front of us. So what are we looking at? And for those who are watching from home, what should they know about these pieces?
Well, Dean Diane gave you a great overview of the current state of the library and the future of the library. I'm going to take us back to the old school. When I say old school, I mean 4,000 years old. So the first thing I wanted to highlight are these clay tablets. These are the oldest recorded information that we have in the library. And these are 4,000 years old. These were created in approximately 2023 BC.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, and these are cuneiform tablets. These were created in clay. And cuneiform was a system of writing that was done with a reed. And these were made with, a very specific type of clay from the region of Samaria. And one fun fact, one of the ways that people authenticate clay tablets such as this is by tasting them. I haven't tried it yet.
I'm not going to volunteer for that, but I do believe you.
Yeah. So we're going to fast forward in history now to the medieval period. So medieval manuscripts are very old, obviously, very difficult to find intact, full manuscripts intact. So we collect manuscript leaves. So these are single pages from multi-page codices that have survived. And these are important because they show, this evolution of recorded information. So this is written on vellum, and vellum is animal skin. And feeling this vellum, you can feel that there is a smooth side and sort of a rough side. And that's indicative of, the skin of an animal. One side has hair on it and one side does not, the inside. So that's why one side is smoother than the other. We also have these to show, just the amazing feats of these scribes. Some of the writing is so tiny. It was not uncommon during this time period between 900 to 1400 for scribes to actually go blind. From just this tiny writing that they were doing. We also have examples of illustrations from this time period. So This is where the term illuminated manuscript comes from. The gold leafing included on some of the illustration gives it that illuminated effect.
Just incredible the quality of these pieces over time, where it still, looks pristine. So how do you keep these in such good condition? I mean, are these able, are they open to the public to see, or what kind of goes into taking care of these pieces?
Yeah, good question. So everything we have in our collections is completely open to the public. So, our students, our faculty, our community members, anyone is welcome to come into special collections to consult these resources. We have a great staff of special collections librarians who handle and work with these materials. These materials do not circulate. So as opposed to books in the library, which you can check out and take home, if somebody wants to use these, they have to come here to use them. And they get to sit in the reading room and use them here. We have a preservation librarian who helps us to create special boxes and folders to make sure things are safely contained. And we keep materials in special climate controlled environments. So we have a small vault on site here where we keep materials, and we also have a climate controlled special collections warehouse offsite.
So this might be a hard question to answer, but do you know how many pieces does special collections have, or is there a round number you could tell us about, just the sheer amount of items or that are cataloged with y'all?
I would say a gazillion, but a real answer, we have about 40,000 cataloged items. So that would be things like books and maps. We also have 9,000 linear feet of archives and manuscripts.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, show us the next piece here.
Yeah, so we're still going forward in time. So now we're going from the medieval period to the earliest period of printed books. And the book that I have here is one of our very special books. This book was actually purchased to celebrate the 400,000th item added to the library's collection. Yeah, and that was back in the 1970s. So shortly after Willis Library opened was this book purchased to celebrate that milestone. This book is the collected works of Seneca, the philosopher Seneca. And you can see this is bound in vellum. And the type here, as opposed to being handwritten, this is done using movable type. So comparing the two side by side, you can see how closely these early books mimicked the style of the medieval manuscripts. So you will see carrying forward some of this tradition slowly being phased out along the way. But during this period of time, books were so new.
Sure.
In order for people to really understand what they were looking at, they had to, look similar to the manuscripts that they were used to.
So it's printed, but still in a similar style.
Yes, printed, but still in a similar style.
And how many pages is this book that was, printed manually?
Yeah,
still?
So this is about 600 pages. And it's pretty incredible when you think that someone had to pick out each one of these pieces of type, line it up, and this was a hand press, pressing the pages individually to create the
just to get one book.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's pretty
Excellent.
amazing.
Let's go over to this side of the table and take a look at the next piece.
Yeah. So this piece that we're looking at here is, yes, this one. So this is from 1634. So now books have been around for a few hundred years. And there was an upstart young author by the name of Shakespeare who put out a,
No big deal.
yeah, no big deal, put out a collected volume of his plays. And that volume is known as the First Folio. Those are extremely valuable. We don't have one, unfortunately. We have the next best thing, a second folio. So the second folio was actually printed the same year as the first folio, very similar, much more reasonable in price. And I have it opened here to the beginning of the play Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you can imagine, this is a kind of book that Shakespeare could have potentially held in his own hands in his lifetime.
Yeah, so incredibly rare.
Yes, incredibly rare. So moving forward still through time, I have picked out a map here that also holds significance to the history of the library. This map was purchased to celebrate the 1 millionth item added to the portal to Texas history. So This map has been digitized. You can also see this online. But this map, it may look sort of unusual. It's the first printed map of the Gulf Coast. So, and in order to really orient you, I'm going to turn the map on its side here. This inlet is likely Galveston Bay. Down here, we see a river notated as Rio Bravo. That's the river we know as the Rio Grande River. And then the coastline continues through here. This is the Yucatan Peninsula going down into Mexico.
And for some context, when was this created? And what should we know about maps back then? Like, how did they even understand the sheer vastness of the Gulf of Mexico back in this time period?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the Dutch were very active in map making. This is a Dutch map because of their trading activities in the region. The maps at this time, however, were known for being highly inaccurate because they just didn't have great technology. And a lot of times they were just copying maps previously made by other people. So a lot of these landmarks that are noted on here may have been completely made up.
So, this piece is 1680, which is just incredible, just the quality that it still was in after all of these years. But how does UNT and the library even get your hands on these pieces? Are these donated? Are these bought? What does it take to get this to be now living and preserved by UNT?
So we accept all kinds of collections. So I would say donations are primarily the way that we receive our materials. We work with donors who are collectors that want to place their collections in a library. But we also purchase collections, and we work with monetary donors. We also have collection endowments that allow us to purchase materials like this.
So what other pieces do we have here in front of us?
Okay, so we're still moving forward in time. Now we're into the 1740s here. And I picked this book out because I knew that we were going to be streaming on the internet, and everyone online loves cats.
That's right.
This is a French book called Les Chats, and this book is significant because it is the first book published about cats. And the book is, very fantastical. The cats are sort of an allegory of the French royalty. And there are many beautiful illustrations. This is an engraving of cats dancing on a rooftop.
Well, both Claudia and myself, we have cats at home. So I'll be sure to share that I'm looking at the first book ever to feature a cat. That's incredible.
Yeah, so, and this illustration in particular, because it's a fold out, is pretty spectacular. But, these kinds of books, aside from the contents within, just looking at the outside can tell us a lot about book history. Yeah. The way that the book is bound, the way that the book is constructed, and even the notations that are written on the insides of the pages can give us information about the former owners of the book and the history of the book itself.
Well, I got to ask you, the elephant in the room, there's one piece on this table that doesn't really look like a book to me. Tell us, what is this accordion doing up here?
Well, this is our accordion book. So the accordion book is sort of, a play on words. An accordion book is, any kind of book that folds out like an accordion. But this accordion book is made out of a real accordion. And this book also has a tie to the history of the libraries. This was commissioned by the library to celebrate the university's 125th anniversary in 2015. And to do this, we contacted some of our famous UNT alumni, Brave Combo, and asked them if they would consider contributing an accordion. And then we worked with the book artists, Peter and Donna Thomas, and they created an actual book inside the accordion.
So this accordion was played by Brave Combo. That is incredible. And now, I don't know if we can see that on camera, but take a look at some of these pictures in here.
So there are pictures of Brave Combo playing here. And then on the other side, there is actually a story about Brave Combo.
So this is the history. Oh yeah, here it is. The story of Brave Combo by one and only Carl Finch, which I'm sure all of our alums know Carl.
Yeah, so this is an example of an artist book. We have many examples of artist book, and we actually just completed our 12th biennial artist book competition here in the libraries. An artist book is, usually a unique artwork that takes its inspiration from the format of the book. We have many examples of artist book, big, small, weird, you name it. But they're wonderful examples of, just the wonderful, imaginative, creative things that people can do with books.
Amazing. Well, thank you for showing us all of these pieces, Morgan. This is incredible, and it certainly opens my eyes to what can be actually considered a book. I remember when I first came here, it's like, why is there an accordion here? But you're right, it's a book, and books can take many different forms. So, Claudia, is there any questions from our audience that either Morgan or Diane can help answer here?
Yes, people want to know what special collections is trying to acquire in the future. What are you focused on getting more of?
Yeah, Morgan, what? I guess what is your goal? Like, is there any piece out there that you really want, or maybe something that's coming down the pipeline?
Oh my gosh.
That's a big
That's
question.
a dangerous question. So one of the collecting areas we are focusing on right now is our LGBTQ collection.
Sure.
So we have one of the largest LGBTQ archives in the Southwest, and we are actively collecting photographs, diaries, papers, organizational records, even things like T-shirts and buttons from Pride parades, to be able to preserve the history of the LGBTQ communities.
Yeah. Excellent. Claudia, what other questions do we have?
We want a question for Dean Diane.
Okay.
What is your favorite part of the new library setup?
Great question.
Oh, geez, I don't know. It'd be too hard to answer.
Well, I think the favorite part for me is the area on the first floor where we have the wooden honeycomb. It's very warm and welcoming, and people respond really well to it. So that's literally my favorite part of that floor.
It's so pretty.
More generally, my favorite part is that we opened it up, that it's an open space where you walk in and the feel of the first floor just changed completely when we did that. It brings you in, it welcomes you in, instead of walking in and running into a wall pretty quickly.
It truly feels modernized. I mean, it's kind of incredible. Just the major change, just the bigger ceilings and the more natural lighting. It's really so much more friendly to enter and feel like you're at home.
If you mentioned the lighting, the one reason that first floor is more comfortable than other floors is that because the MEP was happening and we could do things together with them, we changed all the lighting on that floor to LED instead of fluorescent.
Oh,
it's
wow.
a huge
difference.
Yeah. It feels different.
That is huge. I have one last question.
Okay.
What are you most proud of about the UNT libraries?
That's an excellent question.
I think that would be the fact that how we're known on campus. We're known to the students as a safe, comfortable place for them. We get requests across campus all the time to help with various programs. We are expanding how much we're involved with the IT across campus. We're now checking out all the laptops. So our reputation on campus is that we are here to serve whoever you are. And that I'm really, really proud of. That is what a library should be on a university campus. And that makes me very happy.
Well, I want to thank you, Diane, for your time, and thank you for allowing us to even come highlight the library. Thank you, Morgan, for showing us these incredible pieces. And you can't see him behind the camera, but Josh from our library
Thank you,
services team
Josh.
is helping us film. So Claudia, let me pass it back to you and we can close it out.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much to everyone for being here today. I love seeing the stuff from the special collections. It's so cool. As always, thank you for supporting the UNT Alumni Association, and we will see you next time. Go Mean Green.